Hello everyone and welcome back to the Wake Report. I'm Angela from GYB Bags Travel. Every week I bring you the cruise news and conversations that affect your vacation. If you're new here, welcome aboard. And if you enjoy staying up to date on everything happening in the cruise world, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Let's get to it. If you're a loyal Carnival cruiser, we finally have some new details about Carnival's upcoming rewards program. After months of questions from guests, Carnival has announced what cruisers will receive as they reach different milestone levels when the new program launches this August. Now, here's the important thing to remember. Milestones are based solely on the number of days you've sailed with Carnival. Not how much money you spend, what cabin you book, or how many cruises you've taken. Your time at sea is what counts. So what do you actually get? Well, guests reaching 50 days sailed will receive 5,000 Carnival reward points and receive a special milestone sail and sign card. At 100 days sailed, the rewards grow. Guests will receive 10,000 rewards points, a commemorative coin, onboard recognition, onboard credit, and 2 additional benefits that Carnival says will be announced in more details later. Every additional 100 sailing days continues that recognition, and once guests reach an impressive 500 days at sea, they'll receive everything from the previous levels plus a commemorative award and a special gift shipped directly to their home. Carnival also clarified that it's important not to confuse milestones, stars, and points under this program. Think of it this way. Stars determine your loyalty status. Points are what you earn and redeem for rewards. And milestones are special one-time recognition gifts earned simply by accumulating days at sea. There are still a few details Carnival hasn't revealed, including exactly what some of these onboard recognition benefits will look like, but this announcement gives loyal cruisers a much clearer picture of what they can expect when the new rewards program officially launches. Now I want to hear from you. Do these new milestone rewards make you more excited or more confused about Carnival's new loyalty program? Were you hoping for something more? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Cruising continues to be one of the safest ways to travel, but the FBI is reminding passengers that if they ever witness or become the victim of a serious crime while on board, they shouldn't wait until they get home to report it. The Houston office of the FBI is encouraging passengers to immediately notify both the ship's security team and the FBI if a serious incident occurs while at sea. Why is that important? Well, because evidence can disappear quickly, and in many cases, FBI agents can meet the ship at its next U.S. port to begin an investigation. Now, before anyone starts worrying, here's an important perspective. Serious crime aboard cruise ships remain extremely rare. More than 37 million people cruise each year, while only a very small number of serious crimes are reported annually. The message here isn't that cruising has suddenly become unsafe. It's simply this. If something serious ever does happen, report it immediately. Hopefully you'll never need this advice, but it's always better to know before you sail. Now, before you pack for your summer cruise, there's one item many cruisers have been asking about. With temperatures soaring across many cruise destinations this summer, Carnival has been receiving one question over and over again.
Can I bring a portable fan on board?
The answer is yes, but there are rules. Carnival says guests may bring portable electric fans as long as they are no longer than 12 inches in diameter. The cruise line also reminded guests that stateroom attendants generally do not provide fans unless there is a medical need for an unforeseen circumstance. So if you know you'll want one, bring your own. But here's my takeaway from this story. Whether you're sailing Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, Celebrity, MSC, or any other cruise line, always check the cruise line's prohibited items list before you pack. Policies can and do change. The last thing you want on embarkation day is for your luggage to be pulled aside by security because you packed something that's no longer permitted. Nobody wants to start vacation with a trip to what cruisers jokingly call the table of shame. A quick 5-minute review of your cruise line's prohibited items list before packing can save you a lot of frustration on embarkation day. Now, in this week's segment on My Radar, I take a step back from the headlines and look at a trend I'm noticing across the cruise industry. These are my observations based on recent events and public reporting, along with my own opinion. You may agree, you may disagree. And that's exactly why I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. Last week, you shared your opinions about Royal Caribbean's new policies with Coastal Kitchen. Thank you for that. I loved reading them and welcome you all to share more, including what's on my radar this week. Now, itinerary changes have always been part of cruising. Weather, mechanical issues, medical emergencies, those things happen. But lately, I'm noticing more changes because of port availability, berth conflicts, congestion, and passenger limits. Let me show you what I'm seeing. Princess Cruises recently changed one Sun Princess itinerary because Corfu was expected to be overcrowded with 7 cruise ships, bringing more than 17,000 passengers to the island that same day. So instead of Greece, guests will now visit Taranto, Italy. Norwegian Cruise Line recently changed a January sailing aboard Norwegian Prima because Aruba was no longer available. The cruise line explained that even after itineraries are planned well in advance, operational conditions can change, and sometimes berth space simply isn't available. Carnival has also adjusted multiple itineraries recently because of changing port schedule and operational considerations. And then there is my upcoming cruise. I was scheduled to sail aboard Celebrity Summit with a stop in Key West. Instead, Celebrity substituted Key West for Cozumel because of berth availability. Later in the month, another sailing has a port change as well. That really got my attention, so I started asking myself, is this becoming more common? Well, here's my opinion. Cruise ships continue getting larger. New ships are entering service every year. Many destinations are introducing passenger limits to combat over-tourism. Ports only have so many berths and not all destinations can accommodate large numbers of passengers. When you put all that together, I think itinerary flexibility is becoming more important than ever, and I wonder if we will be seeing more changes as more ships with larger capacities are being built. People plan months out, sometimes over a year, on a particular itinerary, but will we have to expect what a change will likely occur? Now, I'm not saying itinerary changes are suddenly the new normal. Cruise lines haven't made that claim. This is purely observational. But I do think we're seeing more situations where port congestion, berth availability, and operational challenges are influencing itineraries, not just because of repairs and weather. So here's my question for you. Have you had a cruise itinerary change recently? Were you disappointed, or did you discover a port you ended up loving? I'd really like to hear your experience. So leave me a comment below because this is a conversation I think every cruiser should be part of. And that's what's on my radar this week. And before we go, here's this week's quick tip. Ever have trouble deciding between 2 entrees in the main dining room? Well, it wasn't too long ago where if you couldn't decide what to order, you could order 2 entrees and they would serve it to you. But now there are many cruise lines who stop that practice to avoid food waste, and they charge a nominal fee if you want to order a second entree. But here's a little trick. Instead of ordering 2 full entrees, ask your waiter if they could bring the second entree as a half portion or appetizer size serving. Many dining room teams are happy to do that when possible. You'll get to sample both dishes. waste less food, and potentially avoid paying for an additional entree if your cruise line has introduced those charges. It's a simple little tip, but it can make dinner a lot more enjoyable. Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Wake Report. If you enjoyed today's episode, I'd really appreciate it if you'd give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your favorite cruise buddy. I'd also love to hear your thoughts on today's On My Radar segment. Do you think cruise itinerary changes are becoming more common? Or do you think we're simply hearing about them more because of social media? Let me know in the comments. From my family to yours, I want to wish all of you a very happy, safe, and wonderful 4th of July weekend. Whether you're celebrating at home, at sea, or getting ready for your next adventure, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me today. And until next time, happy cruising.